Hi, I'm Sarah Siviata Bennett, and one of my favorite things about Dallas is how much creative energy this city has. Every week on Let's Talk Local, I get to meet and highlight some of the incredible talent right here in our community. And this week's guest is no exception. I'm excited for you to meet Josh Hickman, an incredibly gifted artist and author of a new book called Forgetting. It's a deeply personal story about his complicated relationship with his mother as he cares for her throughout dementia. It's raw, it's emotional, and it's something I know so many of us can relate to on some level. But beyond his writing, Josh's visual art is absolutely stunning. He even invited me to his apartment to see his pieces up close, and let me tell you, it was an experience. I can't wait for you to hear his story and see his work for yourself. So settle in, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this conversation with Josh Hickman. Josh.
Yes.
A, thank you so much for reaching out to us.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people reaching out to us these days. And so looking at your background, you're a man of many talents.
Oh, well,
I mean,
you.
you went to Booker T.
Yeah.
You write for Park City
Park City's
people
people
now.
Preston Hollow people.
You just wrote a book.
Yeah.
And the book was really, and then you're an insane artist.
Oh, well, thank you.
Something that I wanted to ask you about. So we're renovating our house there in Dallas. It's been the longest project known to man. But have you ever done any outside murals?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You have?
Sure.
Well, in your art has a depth to it that most artists, I think, I don't know if they're incapable, but they fail to depict. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? I'm just eager to hear the person that you describe yourself to be.
Yeah. Let's see. We moved, my family, my dad was in the Navy. He was a military guy.
Yep.
He later became a lawyer when
Yep.
he retired. And we moved to Dallas from South Texas, a little tiny town, Kingsville, when I was 7. And not long after that, we moved to Highland Park, where we were for a lot of my childhood until I went off to college. Lived on Livingston. I drew and painted from the time I was very small. I still have drawings I did when I was 2.5, 3, and so. My mother was an amateur photographer and documented my entire life, as I say, whether I wanted her to or not, in thousands of photos. And have a brother. And I ended up going to Booker T. Washington for art, which was probably a good thing because I didn't really fit in very well. And there I studied sculpture and painting mainly. And when I went off to college, I went to several different colleges, but I ended up at UT. I kind of switched to film, and I got a degree in film with emphasis on screenwriting. I started writing more. I had written a little short story collection when I was 12, and I'd always liked writing, and it was encouraged in high school. So then I did a myriad of jobs, everything from, I worked in the film business a little bit, ended up shooting the majority of 2 documentaries. I was a bartender. I was a waiter. I was a private investigator.
I've bartended. I've not been a PI. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I worked in libraries. I did everything
Yeah.
under the sun, did murals, did paintings. I ended up moving to, in my 30s, I ended up moving to LA to join a couple of high school friends who had moved there. I ended up living in LA for 14 years, doing a variety of things. Again, artwork, music, some film work. And then due to circumstances and life changes, my father dying was probably the first thing. My father got cancer and passed away. And then things started to change in my life, and that culminated in my leaving LA. I thought it was time to go. I had lost my job. I had had a breakup of a 13-year relationship. My father died. All these things happened in quick succession. I was also getting kind of burned out as it was. I had been there. I lived in Hollywood. My neighborhood was changing. They were doing a lot of development.
Yeah.
Houses were being knocked down, and apartment buildings were being built, and traffic was getting worse, which I was already sick of.
Yeah.
And my mother was not doing well alone, as could be expected. And so I ended up moving back. And then COVID, I got seriously ill right after I moved back, almost died. And then
I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah, I did. I got very sick and spent 2 weeks in the hospital. And that was scary. And then COVID hit. And so things didn't go very smoothly when I got back. And I had a relationship here, I had a girlfriend who very suddenly dumped me kind of out of nowhere. And all of these things coming together, I ended up with my mother. And I knew that my mother wasn't doing well. Of course, I was back in touch with her. I talked to her every day on the phone in LA and here.
You did?
Probably 6 days a week for sure. And
God
because
bless
that's
you
kind of
for
what
that.
she wanted.
Yeah.
So, and you know, when I moved back, I of course kept talking to her, and I would see her not every day, but I would see her once or twice a week. We lived in different parts of town, and she was downtown, and I was in Oak Cliff. But once my life completely fell apart, and I was essentially staying with her, that's when I really noticed her dementia was beginning to set in, and had probably been around for years ahead of time, and had been covered up by my father.
Yep.
And that became more obvious after he passed away, and then it became very obvious once I started spending days around her. I began to see, wow, this situation is way worse than I was led to believe. And then it started to occur to me, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to have to start taking care of her, because both of our lives are a total wreck.
Yeah.
And maybe the only way out of this is to, you know, make this kind of permanent.
I can relate and sympathize and empathize a ton. My father died in 2022, at the end of 2022. And it was after his funeral where my mom's Parkinson's had reached a point where I could tell her mental acuity had really slipped. But it was after the funeral, we were in the limousine, and she said, "Where are we going? Where are you taking me? What just what just happened?" That type of stuff. And at that point, I thought, "Oh my God, here we go." Here we go. Got to buckle up for this one. And I know I told you my mom just died. She passed earlier this year. And it is so painful.
Yeah.
Caring for a parent who has dementia, Alzheimer's, all of these diseases that are associated with severe cognitive decline.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, because I read the part of your book where you'd mentioned, growing up, you I guess as an adult reflecting back, you saw some antisocial characteristics there. And my father was abusive to my mom, and he was very wounded. He was homeless at a young age. And so it was kind of a chaotic, it was a very chaotic life for me. And my mom encouraged me to just not talk about it, not tell people about it. And then again, it was hard for people to believe, because my dad could be he could be so kind and so loving, so that, right, the duality that many of these people who have these struggles contain.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, my mother could be, she's very, very difficult. As I say in the book, she's probably the most difficult person I've ever known and to deal with about anything. And if she was very antisocial, and it's kind of one of the lessons of the book that I relearned was that, you kind of have to be careful about how you treat people in life, because it can come back to haunt you in ways that you can't imagine. And for some reason, my mother, that never occurred to her, you know? I mean, even to her dying day, that never occurred to her. And why she was left completely alone by the world, except for me, you know? And of course, there's times where you ask yourself, like, why is it just down to me? I'm the only one who will put up with this, you know? And that's the way it is. But she could too. She could be, you know, superficially kind of charming if you didn't know her very well.
Of course.
She was kind of pleasant enough, you know, maybe. But it's like the closer you were to her, then the rougher your ride was going to be.
That's
and
right.
So the family, our small family, which was just, both of my parents were only children, so there were no uncles, aunts, cousins, nothing like that.
Oh.
There was only 4 of us. And the grandparents, of course, had died. And so just my brother and my father, my mother and myself. And if you were in that circle, it was rough. She was very unforgiving, very hard to please. And so this pushed everyone away from her. My brother was did not want to participate.
Of course.
And I can't really blame,
Of
you know,
course.
how can
Yeah.
you blame him?
Yeah.
That it's, in some respects, that's a smart thing to do for self-preservation. You say, no thanks.
That's right.
And so it was me or nobody, because she had no friends. And there were kind of people, this is another thing, you know, that you're not prepared for, is there were some people around her who were doing some very suspicious things, which I realized once we got together. And I was like, who are these people? What are they doing? Why do they stop talking every time I approach? Why do they seem like they don't like me being around? And then, some shenanigans were kind of uncovered. And I had fraudulent Adult Protective Services charges filed against me, which was a wonderful surprise. Still don't know how that happened, who did it. I had to fight them. So there were little things like that, again, kind of lessons in the book. Like that would never have occurred to me in a million years. That would happen to me, you know. And, but this is what you have to prepare yourself for.
Again, I'm sorry for your experiences, because I'm very familiar with antisocial personality disorder. Very familiar with it. And it's very sad, because oftentimes, I mean, that I hate to say it, but spewing all of that hate, that judgment, that critical space to those whom you love will come back for you.
Yeah.
It will come back. And I do believe that, to your point, that humility, that humanity that all of us non-antisocial people have, they just don't.
Yeah.
Right?
It's weird.
They're devoid of it.
Yeah. I mean, that got me to thinking, of course, I mean, you know, the way I guess I went looking back was that I never got married and I never had kids. And part of it was probably, I look back on my childhood, which certainly could have been worse. It's not like it was totally awful, but you know, it was difficult. And I think I thought, I don't want to put somebody through that. So I'm not interested, you know? And but then now these days, you know, that gives me pause to say, well, I'm going to get old and infirmed one day. You know, am I going to wind up like my mother? You know, hope not.
It's different. I think, I don't know how old you are, but you certainly look young. And so you look like you have decades and decades in front of you.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do invest on the side, and I'm invested in Naptronic, and I'm invested in Tesla for reasons that I believe these upcoming generations, like you and myself, should we need that type of care, I do believe that robots will be able to assist in ways that are just not considered today. And I do believe that we'll benefit from the robots being able to, which is also terrifying, to provide comforting conversations, lift, sit, feed,
Right.
24/7. Because as you, I'm sure, observed, I mean, my mother stayed, I moved her from El Paso to Preston of the Park Cities. And, they don't have one-on-one care. So I hired visiting angels to help in the rotation of it all, because it just gets to be too much.
Yeah.
Especially with having 4 kids and our blended family and my husband and all the crazy demands. And I was an only child from my parents.
Yeah. If there's a regret that I have, it certainly is, because it was just me. And you have to remember, I had moved back here. The COVID hit right afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I was here for almost 2 years, I guess, before everything.
Before it hit? So 2018?
Well, no, I got here in 2019, but I had been here about almost 2 years before I ended up, the situation with my mother happened. And, I had been away for 14 years. I didn't have a ton of friends left here. Still don't.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a devastating breakup, which took a bunch of friends away. And so I was 100% alone. My mother didn't have any friends. And I wish and I was very paranoid about money, as you get, and particularly because she was, she died at 88, so she was 86, 87, 88, around in there. She was getting very frail. She was very thin, very small, would not use a walker or a cane or anything due to vanity.
Yep.
So she would continue to walk, and and she had inner ear problems, and she had vertigo, and she had all kinds of ear infections and stuff. And, it was just like a disaster waiting to happen. And so in the back of my mind was always, one of these days she's going to fall. She's going to wind up in a $10,000 a month, room. And what are we going to do?
Yep.
I mean, we can handle that for a little while, but, we don't have endless amounts of money at all. And so I was very paranoid about money, and I saved money. I mean, everywhere I could, and I, staunchly took care of her myself. I never had anyone come and help out, really. I tried to take a 2-day vacation at one point, which I talk about in the book. Went terribly. I hired somebody for 2 days. They weren't any good. Paid way too much money for them.
Yep.
And spent a tense 2 nights in a hotel room in McKinney because I could think of nothing else to do.
Yep.
I was so worried. And came back and thought, wow, that was a dumb idea. And that didn't work very well. I'm never doing that again. But she wound up in hospice care, and I was able to get a 5-day hospice respite care break very near the end. And that was a revelation, and that kind of made me think, wow, why didn't I do this earlier? Why wasn't this offered earlier? Why didn't I, and then after she passed away, I was like, near the end when I was so burned out, and I was spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at home.
Can't imagine.
I was afraid to leave.
Yep.
And she was getting in such bad shape. I really should have splurged and just gotten a little bit of help. But my mindset at the time was just like, nope, you got to get up every day and you just got to keep going,
And it's that, I hate to say, but it's almost it's not self-deprecating, but self-flagellation.
Yeah.
Almost.
It didn't seem like it at the time, but looking back, I was like, it was bad enough. I didn't need to make it that bad, but your mindset can get kind of skewed when you're doing this, just the endless days and nights of doing it. And you can get, I got very depressed. And it's, I write about this a little bit. It's weird when you're taking care. I mean, I'm sure many people out there know this because they've done it. But when you're taking care of somebody who's just getting more ill every day, you can kind of feel like you're going down with them.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of feel like, I was losing weight. There were points in there where I was eating 1 meal a day out of stress.
Yep.
And I lost about 25 pounds. And she's losing weight,
yep.
And like my thinking isn't going great. Her thinking isn't going great. And you start to identify with them, and it's creepy.
It is. It is.
I mean, there were moments where I thought, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this.
Yep. And my mother was, towards the end, because growing up, she was not that way. She was kind and she was kind of the anchor of our family because my father couldn't really hold a job. He had major anger problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but my mother, when she was, I guess towards the end of her life as well, she would make racist comments, tell me, she would yell at me for not being there. And I was like, I was just here, but she didn't remember.
Right.
And then the way I hurt my back, it was an episode of Sundowners, and I was going to try and I kept saying, Mom, you're being very hateful, very mean. I need to escort you to this room because I'm not going to sit here and be your punching bag. So she got up to walk and without a walker, all the things. And in trying to escort her to the back room, she threw herself to the ground. I caught her and she was trying to bite me on the way down.
Yeah.
And I'm not your size. So, of course, herniated L4, L5, hip now is, experiencing arthritic space. It takes a toll on your body.
Yeah.
But to your point, I would have to be in a mental space, or I would try to be. You can't really help it if you're just trying to go see them and be with them. I was not doing what you were doing. Mm-hmm. I could not. No, my kids, no, they're no. It was abusive, and it would depress me.
Yeah.
And so it was just this constant cycle of emotional upheaval. And I was telling Shannon, because I know I read in your responses to some of the questions that were asked, I got in the habit of assessing where I was and saying, okay, I'm not able, even though I'm in the news business, so to speak, I'm not capable of ingesting more division, divisiveness, hate, manipulation.
Yeah.
Can't do it. So I'm just not going to pay attention to what is circulating in the world. I'm much more economically driven with respect to what I like to ingest. And so there is but the political space is so divisive.
Yeah.
What is it that you primarily find yourself writing about in Park City's people?
I'm kind of the oddball guy who does human interest stories, local businesses, local characters, any interesting, artsy stuff, artists, any interesting little features or people, businesses that I come across or that they send me often. It's kind of half and half. But yeah, that's what I like, kind of portraying the small business owner or the whatever, the person who's creative or something like that. It's what a lot of what I do. And writing the book was kind of therapeutic for sure. It's my 7th book. The others were novels, but I had to get some space afterwards. I kind of wanted to write it right after she passed away, but I was still too emotional and kind of angry, and so I waited over about a year and a half, and then I was able to do it. And it was, like I say, therapeutic, of course, but it was also because when I was going through that, you can read self-help books or you can read other, books written by doctors on Alzheimer's, but I didn't have a book like this to read where it was somebody saying, I'm taking care of this person and our relationship is not perfect. It's you're dealing with the relationship and you're dealing with the dementia at the same time. So I thought it would help anybody going through a similar situation.
Of course.
And I don't know how you felt, but when she passed away, I was really shocked by the amount of guilt and emotion that followed it. Because when you're in this, you think, it's depressing, but someday she's going to pass away. It's inevitable. She's going downhill. And then I'll have my life back, and I'll finally be free to see people and go places and eat out and, do all these things that have been forbidden from me for these 3+ years.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really what happened. It was like, no, I didn't really feel like doing any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't do much. The guilt was kind of survivor's guilt, I guess, I felt really responsible for her dying, and it was tough. 6 months, and then it kind of faded a little bit, and at the year mark it faded a little more, but it took about 1.5 years before I thought, I'm kind of back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. It was very unexpected.
Well, yeah, it's almost a form. It's trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, it's traumatic to be in that type of situation for years.
Yeah.
I mean, and interestingly, I think the reason I'm so drawn to your artwork, something that I pulled from a book that I love. It has absolutely nothing to do with art. It's The Veil. It's actually a heavily spiritual book, but they write here. The author writes, unfortunately, as Christians, we tend to see everything in the world as being of the world. The truth is that people are complicated. They are not simply bad or good. Art carries the same spiritual complexity as its creators. I believe it is spiritually immature to say any creative work that doesn't perfectly comply with our belief system should be rejected or avoided. It will be equally immature to ignore our own personal convictions and just absorb everything. But that spiritual complexity of the creators, I can literally feel the complexity from each of your portraits.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, you have, and unfortunately, as you know, so many creatives and brilliant artists feel very deeply.
Yeah, being a little crazy seems to go with it.
But,
I'm not sure why. But.
Well, it's very, the beauty in your creation, I believe in part is able to even exist because you have suffered.
Yeah.
You have suffered.
I mean, there was a middle period in there, I read about this in the book, but where, looking back, I was turning to, I didn't have a whole lot, but I had art, I wrote, and I had my dog, who really kept me from going crazy. And that was about it. And, and during the middle period when things kind of calmed down a little and stabilized, my artistic output surprises me. It's like, I painted dozens and dozens and dozens of paintings when I had the time. And I even kind of came up with a style that, looking back, was influenced by the time, which was I started doing these big paintings with little tiny details and patterns that were repeated over and over and over again. It was almost like I was knitting. It's like I was doing this repetitious work to pass the time, the long hours, especially in the winter months. And so there would be little trees or bushes or whatever, and there would just be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, or pointillism that, and it's funny because I haven't really done many of those since, but I was certainly doing it. I was just kind of passing the time, listening to music and trying to get it out. And there was a point in there where I was talking to a therapist on a call or something, and we were talking about the artwork, and she said, "Oh, do you paint like, angry, gloomy, depressing scenes to get your emotions out?" And I was like, "No, I paint the total opposite. Everything is colorful and like these pastoral landscapes and space scenes." Because I was like, no, I'm painting the world the way I wish it was, not the way it is right now, And color is kind of a antidepressant, I think, actually, in a way.
It is.
That's why bright colored flowers, make people feel up and alive and so forth. So, yeah, the painting certainly helped me from losing my mind, but thanks for your
it's the truth. But do you have faith? Do you pray at all?
I'm not an overly religious person.
Sure.
But yeah, I have spiritual beliefs.
Okay, so it wouldn't offend you or whatever if I said, "Hey, could you paint this mural that is more inclined to depict this space in the Mediterranean of Jesus.
Yeah, sure.
That, okay, so that's not something, because I've actually met some artists in the past who are like, no, I will not do that.
No, I know. No, that doesn't bother me.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And for me, the fundamental joy I think that I have somehow had since I was a baby, but I have a whole lot of other stuff too. I'm also a tortured person in my own ways, but it's becoming less. But anyways, that joy, I think, if not genetically predisposed, it certainly has to do with my belief system, and it's kind of become a solid rock for me. But I'm just interested to hear how you might, from a more philosophical and even a religious space, view where your mom's struggles, I mean, throughout the course of your entire life, how it left you possibly feeling emptier.
Yeah.
After a lot of her own darkness started to oppress you. Did you ever give thought to that?
Yeah, there are times where I catch myself and doing things that are suspiciously like her behavior, even if it's no one notices but me. But there's a lot of, I can be critical and I can be hard to please, sometimes. And I can see the worst in people and, and I have to catch myself and, which I do sometimes, and say, it's an awful lot like Mom. You better watch it. This isn't leading to a good place.
Yep.
And, yeah, I mean, some of her, as I say in the book, it's not like all of her influence was bad. She loved literature. She loved to read. She read all the time. She encouraged it. When I was a kid, she made me read Edgar Allan Poe and
I used to love Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, and other writers, and she liked photography, and she liked some movies, and so that was good. But yeah, a lot of her outlook just seemed so critical and unhappy, and really, I think, kind of jealous. That's where a lot of it came from.
That's most antisocial people.
It's that
rooted in.
I can remember very well sometimes where, if we would meet somebody or visit somebody or a family, and they were really, really seemed happy.
Yes.
Didn't
She
like
didn't
that.
like them.
No.
Yep. Oh yeah.
She was like, oh, well, they're just full of whatever, or they're just pretending, or I don't see why they think they're so blah, 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 blah. And even as a kid, you look at them and you go, well, they're just like a happy, normally functioning family. What's the problem?
Yes.
And but yeah, there was a lot of that kind of haunted our family. But yeah, I mean, you have to separate yourself from it, and unfortunately with her, it's very difficult. But you can certainly, and I think this as an artist too. I mean, I think I'm thinking this more. You can kind of dwell too much in the darkness.
I see that.
And you can wallow in your own, sadness and depression and so forth. And in the end, it doesn't really help anything. And I think that's where I get more and more frustrated with some artwork these days. I mean, I think my perspective is changing a little. And I think I'm able, as I get older, more and more to see, when in question, it's like, well, what about just painting something that's beautiful? What's wrong with that? Or painting a person's face who you know and like, I mean, why not just return to those things instead of everything? I'm more, more and more against political influenced art. I would like to start a society that's like non-political artists, because it just drives me crazy.
Yes.
And just so much of modern art being ugly and, I mean, wantonly so. And as I get older and kind of soften, I'm like, I'm just going to paint a nice landscape, or I'm going to make one up in my head and paint it.
I love that.
And or I'm just going to, I have a friend who makes me laugh. I'm going to paint his face.
Yeah.
And, unless I got some profound inspiration to do something else, why not just do that? Why not make the world more pleasant and beautiful and highlight things that are beautiful on the earth? Where's the harm in that? I'm kind of leaning more that way at this age. You know, when I was 20, that's probably not what I was thinking. I was trying to be more edgy and shocking, but these days it's that just seems so hollow and teenage and that kind of thinking.
I understand.
So
I understand. I'm a classically trained pianist and singer, and so I used to compose a lot of my own songs, and some of them were dark, very dark, actually. And growing up, for the people who have known me for a very long time, I loved Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, Smashing Pumpkins. I was and I clearly Edgar Allan Poe. I was very dark. Even though I was a cheerleader and all these things, my hair was pitch black. And again, I think it's something having to do with a creative mind. Even though I'm heavily analytical, that creative space for me often dwelled in the darkness. But now kind of fast forwarding and learning what I've learned about kind of the powers that be in the world, the evil and the good that a lot of people can't see, I believe it to be true. I believe that we have to actively fight to not feed that darkness.
Yeah. I mean, you get, like I say, some of it's just getting older for me, but it's like you get to a point where I think more and more, I mean, I sit around and think way too much, but I think, with artwork or whatever I'm doing, I think more now, where is this all going? What is the point of what I am doing? And I don't really think, when I was younger, I probably didn't think that way that much, but, in what direction is all this heading? What will this mean after I'm dead? I mean, and if it's just total self-indulgent, negative or ugly, or, I mean, how in the long run is that going to help anybody? It might help you get your feelings out when you're 18, but
sure.
Now it's like, no, let's get on a little bit of a higher plane.
Good for you.
And
so where is your artwork displayed?
Oh, I don't think there's anything in any galleries at this moment, but at my house. But no, I have pieces in shows here and there. I hopefully will have a piece in an upcoming show at the Bathhouse Cultural Center.
Okay.
Their Dia de los Muertos show.
Oh, right. I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, with the skeletons?
Yeah.
And I thought
I've had a
Dia de
piece
los
in there.
Muertos looks...
It's a party.
Yeah.
It's happy skeleton. So, but I've had a piece in that show for the last couple of years. Hopefully I'll get in this year too. But I sell to individual collectors and, people who like my stuff. And I've got a new website coming out. It's under construction right now.
That's what I was going to ask, because I searched high and low. Josh, I was like, okay, all artists have some space where there is a more of an assortment, right? Available to digest. But your stuff is exceptional.
Yeah. Oh.
And so for me, I was like, I'm left wanting because I couldn't, and I stalked you for a while, but I couldn't find it. So for people like me.
Yeah, I'm very old fashioned. So that I've had to be talked into getting a website again. I had a website and I let it go, but I'm getting a new, because of the new books coming out, I'm getting a new one, and it'll have art on it too. So it's joshwhickman.com.
When will that launch?
In the next few days, probably.
Oh, this is perfect, Shannon.
So
this makes me really happy because there'll
be more artwork on
Good. So that we can kind of circulate it.
Yeah. And I mean, on you know, social media, on Facebook and on Instagram, I do post paintings here and there.
You
for
do,
sure. Yeah.
you do, but it's not. It
It's not
like
a
I
big
said,
gallery
it
or
left me
something.
wanting.
Yeah.
Because I thought certainly he's got to have more. I mean, so you have stuff in your house?
Yeah, sure.
Do people go look at it?
Yeah, sure. I have little
Can we go?
gatherings. And
Because for me,
Sure.
okay, I literally, I was just going to go get my cell phone and pull up a bunch of things that I took screenshots of because I wanted to talk about him. I feel very called to talk about what I feel when I see a lot of it. And I want to understand where you were or what headspace you were in, what inspired it, right? And not a whole ton, but I would, if we could do that, I think it'd add just a really nice dimension to
Sure.
to what we're talking about.
This is one of the. This is the last piece I painted while I was taking care of my mother.
Your mother.
While she was still alive, and I was just doing, as I've said, like kind of things with lots of little details that I could just kind of obsess over, and so I was trying to do sort of a waterfall of flowers.
Yes.
And this is kind of one of those ones where when I look back, because I was interrupted while I painted this like every 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So it's amazing that I was able to, that it looks so serene.
Yep.
Because it was not a serene
moment.
time, I
Yeah.
can tell you that. But anyway, that one was in a show, I think. And then,
Oh.
I'm trying to think if there's anything in here that's worth looking at. This is just one of my imaginary cityscapes, which I do.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Some of that is with translucent paint, so you can see through. The buildings look like they're glass, and you can see through them. Sometimes I paint on wood, sometimes I paint on canvas or board. This is a version of Arnold Bach's Isle of the Dead, which he painted 4 times. And I kind of did my own version, which I never fully finished, but I actually kind of like it the way it is, so I just left it.
I enjoy it. Just like that as well.
Yeah. And then this one that you were asking about. Yeah, so these two are the first 2 paintings I did when I returned to painting, which was 10 years ago. So these were done in 2015. And I hadn't really painted that regularly for a while, and I kind of got back into it, and I've been into it ever since. And so I wanted to do 2 landscapes, sort of imaginary ones. And so the first one is structures. Some of them are real. I tried to make them all interesting, but some of them are real. Some of them are things that aren't buildings but look like buildings. And then some are kind of fake buildings taken from movie sets or whatever. So yeah, and memories, you know, dreams, stuff like that. And so I had thought of that building from El Paso, and I was to the point where I was like, did that building really exist? I remember this, you know, my brother learning to write. So that's how I remembered it.
Oh.
And then once after I painted that, I said, well, there is the internet.
Yes.
I can go look it up. So I looked it up, lo and behold, it's still there, and this is what it looks like.
Wow.
It's a synagogue in El Paso from my childhood.
I remember it.
And I think they built it in the 60s or 50s, and it's still, I visited it about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it still exists.
It still looks exactly the same, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I was standing in the parking lot thinking, this is it.
I have been there a few times.
Yeah, I went with my brother. And we were like, yeah, this is it. So, and then some of these, like this is a cold virus. So it's not a building, but it kind of made it look like a building.
And I love the floating effect of the items.
Yeah, these are called World Without Shadows 1 and 2, because I got to the point where I kind of liked the idea of not making them so literal, because I started to think, well, where are the shadows going to go on all these? Because the sun's over there, so they have to come this way. And so I just ignored it. I said, no, we're not going to have any shadows at all.
I like it.
And then this is the same concept, but it was with plants. So some of these are real plants, some of these are things that look like plants, and some of them are not, or neither one, really. So the baobab tree, these 2 are nuclear explosions. We have fungus that look like plants. We have animals that look like plants, a sea cucumber. This is from a movie. That creature's from a movie. That's an octopus pretending to be a crab.
Oh my goodness.
So it was just kind of, this was more organic living things, and the other one was more buildings.
And I love them
And then
next to each other.
Yeah, I've always kept them next to each other, and
Yep.
no one's ever bought them.
They're beautiful.
They've tried, but they haven't. And then, so this is more recent. This is one of my recent paintings. After my mother passed away, I was able to go to Italy to visit a friend of mine. I had never been to Europe, period, ever in my life. I haven't traveled much, which is kind of sad. So I had a friend who lived there, still lives there, and I, on a whim, went and visited her. So this is in Rome, and this is the ruins of the Roman Senate down here, and this basilica that's next to it, which is later, of course. And anyway, so that was just one of my, little snapshot memories of Rome, and it took a lot of work.
I love this. It's remarkable. And immediately when I walked into your apartment studio here, I thought, okay, that's Rome. But it's beautiful and colorful.
Yeah, I always kind of, I lean towards the colors.
Me too.
And
I do too.
And sometimes they're almost kind of randomly chosen. Like this wasn't really pink, it's just the way it went.
Sure.
It was kind of duller than that, but it's just sort of the way it went. Or I'll exaggerate some of the yellows and the reds.
Yes, and that's what I love.
Brighter.
And okay, so this is really, really something special.
Thank you.
And something that I'd like to talk to you more about along the perimeter of my home.
Yeah.
And so these portraits.
Yes, these are a few portraits of the quick self-portrait I did. This is a portrait of Ernie Kovacs, who was a TV comedian in the 50s.
Yep.
He passed away in 1962. And this is a kind of a grotesque of another comedian, George Jessel, which I was just doing kind of down and out type pictures.
Yeah.
And lots of color. And like with this one, I was doing an experimental thing, trying to go from one color to another as I went around.
Yeah, this is special.
This is a sun and moon thing I did. And another portrait
it.
of a friend of mine.
I love it. I know. Isn't it remarkable? Look at this. I mean, the way it pops out.
Yeah, I did this series, which you've seen some of them, where I was doing these color portraits and using kind of bright colors, also opposite, on the color wheel. So he's kind of yellowy, goldy, and the background is purple. We got another one that's green and red.
I can't wait to see that.
Another one that was blue and orange.
See, this is what right? I mean, Shannon, think of this, right, as kind of the,
you don't have to sell
right? It's so special.
But then I can roll out a couple of these. These are just works on paper, but that's another Italy scene from Cortona that I just did kind of. These are a little, on paper, they're a bit more casual, but.
What is your ethnicity?
My family, I guess, is from Great Britain mainly.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
On both sides. My mother was
both?
my mother was Canadian, and then her family before then, of course, was like Ireland, England.
Got you.
And my dad's side were miners who came over to mine in the copper mines in New Mexico from Cornwall and Wales.
Oh.
They were coal miners there.
See, and it's so interesting because the way you use color, it reminds me so much of Spanish influence.
Yeah.
That is very near and dear to my heart. And so this reminds me of like a Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
Right, this kind, right, and then this kind of floating. It's so, beautiful.
Yeah, I love Dali. I'm a big Dali fan.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite artist.
You see some of his bigger pieces, and you take a close look at them, and man,
I know.
the painting is mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing.
You forget how good he was,
Yes.
and then you see those, you're like, wow.
Uh-huh.
Amazing. Yeah, but these are just a variety of stuff. This was taken from dreams that I had. These are some abstracts, and then this is just another made-up cityscape that I imagined.
I love this.
And then this was I was doing did a series with animals. I was going to make them weirder animals, but I ended up doing a tiger, which is green, and this rhino, which is blue. And I thought that one turned out pretty well.
Oh my goodness. I might have to now pull from this because I'm thinking of for the animals on the ranch, Shannon.
And then this is that's a house. I kind of turned it into a haunted house kind of looking thing. But it's based on a real house that is in California. It's north of LA. I'm trying to think of what town it's in. Newhall.
Okay. I've never been to Newhall.
And then this is a piece that I just finished, which just got into the bathhouse.
Los right?
So, yeah.
It's
so
awesome.
That's going to be in a show in a couple of weeks.
It's beautiful.
Which is fun. They're fun receptions to go to. They've been attended. So I've got a few in here. These are just sketches of comedians' faces.
Oh my goodness. Wow, your sketching's really remarkable.
And just kind of done over a period of time.
This is neat.
And then this is another kind of fantasy landscape. And this is kind of a winter to spring kind of an idea I came up with, changing of the seasons.
Gosh.
And this is just a little kind of skyscape I did. It was also, I remember painting this because it was so frustrating because it was during that period my mother would interrupt me every 10 minutes.
Sorry.
But I kind of like the way that turned out. This was one I actually kind of did for her.
Oh.
They're forget-me-nots.
I know. I gave my dad a bouquet of those when he was in the hospital when I was really little, and they were faux ones, but these exact flowers. Oh my gosh.
So, and then let's see. I got a couple more in my bedroom. Some little ones in here. Another abstract over there.
Shannon, look at this. It's just, I know. Yes. Like look at that. On this wooden.
Yeah, that's a friend of mine who, he's ironically, he's a carpenter and woodworker, and
this is amazing.
And I paint on wood maybe a third of the time and canvas 2/3 of the time. So I had wood, so I started painting him, and I was going to paint over the wood grain, and then I thought, well, he's a carpenter. Why not just leave the wood grain and do a clear coat over it? And I left the trees in the background. And
I love this.
Thanks.
Imagine animals at the ranch painted on this as the right? Amazing. Yeah,
and you've seen that one.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I don't have descriptive words to say.
I know.
It's so good.
It's exceptional. And the small strokes.
Yeah, it's a friend of mine. I have a picture of him standing next to it making that exact face. That's exactly what he looks like. He's a high school buddy of mine. He's kind of a goofball.
Yeah.
And we've kept in touch over all these years. And so I always thought of him laughing. So I took a bunch of pictures of him at a dinner table cracking up, and then I turned those into that. And
This is
then
special.
these are a couple of musicians over here, and then this is kind of like almost the nighttime version of the daytime one in the next room. Again, it's just kind of made up. Using translucent paint again on this, you can kind of see through the buildings.
I know.
I had got some new paints that turned out to be translucent, and so I thought, well, let's see if we can do some layering and,
Wow. Oh my goodness, and it keeps going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything.
Oh, I
there.
do. Can I see this one up here?
Yeah, sure.
Look, Shannon.
So I started this technique, I haven't done it recently, but of reverse painting on glass. So you paint on the back.
Oh.
So there's no paint
Yeah,
here, it's on the back. And you paint them in reverse, so you start with the details, and then you work your way back in space to the background. The background's the last thing you do, instead of it being the first thing you do. And this was the first one I ever tried with that technique. And then there's another one that's done the same way. But it makes the colors really bright because there's no canvas. You know, it's all color. So I still do those every once in a while. I haven't done one recently, that's another one.
Who is this?
This is an actor, Lon Chaney Jr. He played the Wolfman.
Yes, I knew it.
Yeah.
With Bud Abbott and Lou Costello?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's why I was like, tell me that this is not, that is exactly, okay, I actually could have placed him.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
And I love, do you know who Bud Abbott and Lou Costello are? Okay, yeah, they're
Old comedians.
Yeah, they're older comedians.
Yeah, I like kind
Hilarious.
of like character actors with craggy faces.
Yes.
I do a bunch of those. That's him there too, and later in life.
Oh.
Yeah, it's him in
Got you.
20 years later, you know.
And I don't know what it is about your portrait work that is so dimensional, layered, purposeful, and it's deep.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can feel their emotions. And I mean, right?
You know the person.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's almost as if you're sitting there having a glass of wine with them.
Yeah, and it's, for some reason, instead of painting, I mean, I can do flesh tones, but I like the monochromatic stuff.
I do too.
It's weird. It kind of casts them in a certain light and adds a certain personality to it, instead of just trying to go, okay, well, I'm trying to make it look as exactly like their photograph as I possibly can. I didn't really see what the point of that was, so.
Oh my goodness, Shannon, I'm thrilled. And look at, like, I mean, this, you painted this.
Yeah. Little tiny brushes.
I know, it's just.
Especially when you have time on your hands, like I.
But I mean, this
I did
here,
for so long.
I can't stop with, I mean, I think they're some of the most impressive portraits I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, thank you for
Yeah,
allowing us to come
of course.
to this remarkable space. I'm grateful to
Oh,
you.
you know what? Let me give you a book. My books came in.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to sign it, please.
I
Okay, good.
will.
You got a pen. We have to take a picture together with this.
So
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is so special. And this,
problem.
Shannon?
Oh, yeah, I didn't go into
yeah,
these
yeah,
two.
if we can. Only because this actually is a little reminiscent of some artwork that I grabbed in Colombia. Where is this from?
These both are from Venice. So that was
They're
Rome,
Venice.
and this is Venice. This is the Piazza San Marco, St. Mark's Square with the pigeons. There were people in there, but I cut them out because I didn't want
It's better.
a crowd. And so yeah, that's Venice on the St. Mark's Square, and then this is just wandering around Venice as night was falling. I mean, I was very impressed with Venice.
Yes.
It just kind of blew my mind.
Yes,
I
it is.
I was like, what is this
I know.
crazy, crazy place?
Yep.
And just going down those narrow streets.
Cobblestone streets.
Yeah, was just so cool. So that's just kind of a nighttime shot.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Of that.
Yeah, these are certainly the types, right, that I'm really wanting in my backyard. I'll just have to figure out the exact locations. My goodness. Well, we're going to be working a lot together. I'm
Okay.
like, from beside the portraits and then the artwork in the back. I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Shannon.
Thanks.
Oh my God.
Well, I work alone in, obscurity a lot.
Yeah. Well, then I'll.
It's nice to have somebody appreciate it.
Of course, of course. I mean, you're exceptionally talented,
And thank you.
and I'm grateful to know you.
Yeah.
So
Me
thank you,
too.
Josh.
Thank you.
I'm excited, Shannon. This is good.